Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Hilton Mark Center Hotel and to GovTravels 2019. And welcome to our nation's capital. I would like to begin our GovTravels Symposium today by asking you to please rise for the national anthem. The national anthem will be performed by Miss Lania White. She's a sophomore at South County High School and is an accomplished musician in her own right, and we're lucky to have her. She is the granddaughter of one of NDTA's devoted volunteers, Ms. Jerry Gunter. So thank you, Jerry, for having your granddaughter come today. After we sing the national anthem, we'll do a time-honored thing at NDTA, which is Pledge of Allegiance. So please remain standing. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly gleaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Boy, Lania, thank you again. It was really wonderful. Good morning. Thank you for all attending. This is our fourth annual gathering of what we call GovTravels, people of the travel and transportation professionals from the industry and from federal and state government, DOD. We tried to make this more inclusive of the entire government rather than just DOD. My name is Andy Brown. I'm the president of NDTA. I'm excited to be here today and to serve as the master of ceremonies for the meeting. If at any time you have a question, please grab me or a member of the NDTA team, and we're here to make your time a rewarding and professional experience. For those of you who were here last year, welcome back, and if you look around, please look for familiar faces and re-network your network. For those of you who are attending for the first time, giddy up. This is a great event. We're glad that you're all here. Our goal over the next 2 days of GovTravels is to promote communication among all the stakeholders, government, and in the private sector, whose job it is to support the safe and efficient travel of our government travelers. This is all designed to provide everyone here a portion of the professional education we all need. The way I like to think of the exhibit hall as even an opportunity to learn, it's part of the education that we have. So even the exhibit hall is designed to educate. This is a co-sponsored event, the third year of being co-sponsored with the Defense Travel Management Office under Bill Manziel. Mr. Bill Manziel, in his leadership role, he has stepped forward and signaled DTMO's desire to use this forum as a primary means to execute their responsibility to coordinate, communicate, and educate government and industry professionals in this travel space. We have worked hard over the past year to incorporate many of the things that you told us that you liked or that you wanted to see included, and your feedback is important, and we'd like to hear from each of you. I'd also like to make a shout out to Ms. Tina Grace of SAP Concur. Tina, would you please stand up? And Brian Scott of Enterprise. Tina and Brian basically chair and co-chair what we call the Government Passenger Travel Advisory Council. You'll hear more and more about the council that was stood up by the NDTA to elevate it above a committee status. So the council will have many committees, and part of this week's mission is to discuss more about the council and the committees that are out there to solve issues of mutual discussion between government and industry. So a round of applause for Tina and Brian because they've really stepped to the plate. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce my co-host, Mr. Bill Manziel, the Director of Defense Travel Management Office. But before he comes to the mic, I'd just like to say a few words about him. Mr. Manziel was a proven manpower and personnel leader in the United States Army, serving 27 years and retiring from the Army in 2003 as a senior, well, I guess you'd say a full bird colonel. He's earned 2 master's degrees and has served in the DoD Civil Service ever since his Army service. And in that time, he has served as the Assistant Director for Military Personnel Policy and Congressional Issues with the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Military Personnel Policy. He was the Chief of Civilian Information Systems Division with the Army G1 and Director of Enterprise Human Resource Information Systems at the Defense Civilian Personnel Advisory Services and at the Data Center. Again, now he serves as a distinguished senior executive service official as the Director of DTMO. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce a good friend of mine, Mr. Bill Manziel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Admiral Brown, and good morning to everyone. Okay, I did this last year. We can do better. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay, that'll work. So let me first acknowledge our distinguished guest from the government sector. He's not here yet, but he's speaking in a short period of time. Mr. Bill Booth, Director of the Defense Human Resources Activity. I'd also like to acknowledge Mr. Bill Staley, Deputy to the Use of FEMCOM Director, and I'd also like to acknowledge Mr. Brigadier General David Maxwell. Sir, thank you for coming and spending your time with us here this morning. The Defense Travel Management Office serves as the single focal point for commercial travel within the Department of Defense. We establish strategic direction, we set policy, and centrally manage commercial travel programs. At $9 billion of spend annually, we are responsible for about 60% of the federal government's travel spend. With an enterprise that large, it is easy to appreciate the value in a forum where government and the travel industry are actively engaged and able to exchange ideas, explore new technology solutions, learn about the latest trends, and study best practices. This is our third year as co-sponsor. That in itself should demonstrate our commitment to forging collaborative relationships across government and industry. We understand the value this event brings, the relationships built and strengthened, the ideas exchanged and integrated. We welcome the establishment of the new Government Passenger Travel Advisory Council, or GPTAC, as we affectionately call it now. It is my hope that this rededication to increased collaboration between NDTA industry members and the government will produce even greater synergy and results as we modernize travel for our government travelers. We want to bring to bear the leading technology and best practices to better serve our stakeholders. We look forward to working with the GPTAC, not just to bring you GovTravels, but throughout the year to empower, engage, and innovate. The relationship between DoD and GSA is stronger than ever, thanks largely through our collaboration at GovTravels. On Wednesday, you will hear from my friend, Mr. Tim Burke, when he delivers his keynote address. Tim and I have worked diligently to build a partnership for the good of the government traveler across the federal government. I think our collaboration is paying off. I value not only his friendship, but his steadfast enthusiasm for getting it right and doing the right thing. It's an exciting time in government travel, and we are proud to partner with GSA on several efforts, many of which you will hear about more over the next couple of days. I pledge to work with Tim and his team at GSA to continue to build and find common ground to build a unified approach to procuring travel services. In previous years, NDTA supported our internal government stakeholder event, DoD Connect, by providing facilities for us to meet on Monday prior to the initial two-day symposium. As a result of positive feedback from you last year, and your demonstration of understanding of the value that GovTravels brings, we are fully integrating our DoD Connect agenda with the GovTravels agenda this year, building a series of DoD Connect sessions throughout the 3 days of this event. Over the next 2 days, you will hear about how all of us are trying to empower, engage, and innovate. Your teams will learn more about how we are modernizing our travel system, what GSA is doing with category management, innovations in cybersecurity, and the fourth industrial revolution. Soon, we will hear from my boss, Mr. Bill Booth, Director of the Defense Human Resources Activity, who will talk about how DoD governs its $9 billion enterprise in his ongoing keynote address. We're here to engage industry. I am personally looking forward to attending many of the industry-sponsored educational sessions and panels to further my awareness and knowledge of industry and to solicit your feedback. I think that can help us to better empower, engage, and innovate to achieve our strategic goals. Thank you.
Again, the topics to be discussed today and tomorrow have been developed in discussions among a representation of key government and industry stakeholders over the past year. Mr. Manziel, thank you, sir, for your staff who's worked diligently to collaborate closely on this meeting. Now at this time, I'd like to say a few things. Ms. Pat Hall, a longtime friend of GovTravels and NDTA for many years, passed away recently, and we'd like to respect Pat now with just a moment of silence to remember her service and her wonderful smile. Okay. 2019 marks 75 years since the founding of NDTA, within months of the end of World War II. One of the original goals remains today to form a bond between the military, government, and industry. NDTA has grown into a leading transportation and logistics organization for DoD and industry, which includes passenger travel. Our emphasis on partnerships and education allows us to bring industry and government together, as well as prepare the next generation of transportation and logistics leaders. Our year-long 75th anniversary observance officially begins today. Ours is a one-of-a-kind story. To commemorate our 75th anniversary, we have collaborated with artist Lawrence Ramorini, founder of One-of-a-Kind Art Studio, to create an unforgettable legacy of NDTA's 75 years. With the theme, Moving Forward Together, we have created a three-dimensional retrospective work of art featuring scores of miniaturized photos, publications, 3D items, and memorabilia to capture our history. It displays many leaders, award winners, accomplishments, and our longtime commitment to building a partnership between the military, the government, and industry. And when you get a chance to look at the artwork later, after we unveil it, it'll be displayed, but look for references to GovTravels. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Manziel. He's going to help me pull this off, and this will be, we call it unveiling. I've got to give Mr. Denny Edwards and Ms. Lori Leffler a lot of credit for their vision in commissioning this piece of art. So again, we invite you to view this fascinating artwork. It'll be on display in the exhibit area, and it'll also be at the reception tonight, which we're calling this 75th anniversary reception. And it commemorates our story and our proud history, but we also look forward to the moving together to over the next 25 years or so. So thank you for being part of this today. Before I go another step further, let me acknowledge the generosity of our platinum sponsors, Amtrak, BCD Travel, CWT, Sato Travel, Enterprise, SAP Concur, Sabre, Travelport, and Turkish Airlines, and all of our other valuable sponsors who have helped make all this possible. Thanks to you all for your backing and faith in what we were trying to accomplish this week. We could not have done it without you, and please join me in a round of applause for them. I think while I'm doing a few administrative remarks, we're going to move this out of the way, so pay attention to my remarks and make sure the artwork doesn't fall. Safety first. If you look around you, there's lots of exits, but please make sure you know where one might be. And if we have to clear the room, there's exits to the outside. I recommend doing that. But please, everybody, keep your antennas up and make sure we remain safe. There's a reason that we all wear badges. It's so that we know that the people that are amongst us have all been verified. All of our social activity, the breaks, the meals, receptions will be hosted in the lower foyer in the exhibit area right outside the doors, and the restrooms. If you have a problem finding them, let me know. I know where they are. After this afternoon's sessions, I invite you again to attend the 75th anniversary reception in the Expo Hall. At tomorrow's reception, we'll be conducting a raffle with some really great prizes. The raffle tickets are on sale. I would just say the proceeds of the raffle go to the NDTA Foundation, which presents scholarships each year to deserving students in the logistics field. And I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of these students as they come through the office, and it really does make a difference in their lives. So this raffle will include 2 round-trip tickets to South Africa, courtesy of South African Airways. And the raffle booth is set up in the exhibit hall, and tickets are $5 each. If you complete your, what we call the passport by going around to all the exhibit areas, you get several free tickets for the raffle. And again, this goes right to the NDTA Foundation for scholarship support. I'd also say that since I've been at NDTA, we've opened up to government and DoD folks a free membership for the first year. So if you haven't signed up to become an NDTA member, it's been approved by the attorneys and whatnot within DoD that it's a widely available thing that you can do. So please join the NDTA and become part of the conversation. We have an app. I don't know if you've downloaded the app yet, but please do this. If you need help, we'll help you. You can ask questions through the app of the speakers and the panels. Mr. Dan Sulka is over here. Dan has an iPad that all the questions get fed to, but we also have the ability to go to the microphones and whatnot to ask questions. So the app also has a lot of other valuable information in terms of who's here, et cetera. So every time I ask a question, my staff says, "Sir, do you have the app?" And it's all right on the app. Just kind of, so I did download it. So we also, we're encouraging social media. We have, let's see, can we go to the next chart, please? And we have free Wi-Fi. There's the password. We have, we talked about the app. And then let's go to the next one. And then we have things like hashtags and Facebook, and LinkedIn is a very effective tool we're finding. We're also revamping our website to make it more searchable, so information that's available there will be available to help educate in the logistics arena. And next chart. Okay. At this time, I think you're armed with enough information about the 75th anniversary, about the social media and whatnot. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to DTMO, and they're going to have their DoD Excellence in Practice Awards.